Hi, I'm Scott Ferrell. Got a lot of questions about the Chip and Joanna Gaines thing. So let me preface this by saying one, I'm a pastor and a business owner. Two, I don't know much about them. People ask me all the time because I used to be on the radio and I do behavior, but I don't really have a background for these two. I know they like shiplap, they like white, the color white in buildings, and they live in Texas and they have a show. That's all I know. So I had to do some background on them just to figure out who they were. So I'm going to answer this in two parts because I'm tired of people asking me all the time. I figured I'd just do a video on it. All right. I'm going to handle it as a business owner. Then I'm going to handle it as a Christian slash pastor. Let's do business first. Here's the way I look at any business owner. If they own their company, they can do whatever they want to. Okay. Nothing happens in the world of business without selling and buying and selling. Got to sell a product. Somebody's got to purchase it. You got to receive your money. Okay. That's great. So if they own the company, they have license to do whatever they want to do. Apparently, they've been very successful. I have not kept up with their careers. I know they've got a brand, I believe it's Magnolia, but looks like they started with nothing and have done a really good job as business owners, getting the word out about remodeling, apparently. But seem to have nice kids, nice people. Um, I don't have probably anything bad to say about them, business owning standpoint. And there's some photography skate. It's always great when you can hire help, right? All right, so let's look at it again from a business. Who's their customer base? You always have to understand who your customer base is. If you need a book to read, Scott McCain, pick up any book, he talks about this very thing. Who's your customer base? Who's going to purchase from you? Who is your viewership? Understand what they want, understand their needs from you, and then service those needs. That's how you keep clients. All right. Are they doing that? I don't know. We have a controversy. Now, let's leave business owner. Let's go over to Christian and pastor. All right. Apparently, again, I have not seen the show. I just read the bylines and watched a real quick clip. They had a gay married couple with kids. Okay, so from a Christian standpoint, now we're going back to the Bible. That's a no-no. That is a no-no. Now, we're not with business owner any longer. We're over here on the Christian side. Now, apparently, they are Christians. Again, I don't know them, so I can't make this leap on who they are. So I did some digging. Seem like nice people, uh, but nice people sometimes get it wrong, right? Just because you're nice doesn't mean you're a Christian. It just means you're nice. I don't know if they're saved or not saved. I wasn't there. Only God knows, and they know. They seem to be. But now you've got three couples. I think it's like a show where you take people and put them in a lifestyle that matches colonial times. Not colonial, but Western 1800s, early 1900s. And out of all the people they could have picked, right? You got three shows. You pick a gay couple that's married with kids. That is not knowing one, your value system, and two, your customer base. So, what have you built your career on? All right, I think they built their career on being Christians, being believers, loving God, loving Christ, being part of their church, being part of their community. So that's been a staple for, I'm not sure how long they've been on TV, 15 years, let's say. So now you've established this norm across the board of who you are. Now, the key is as a pastor, no, I would not do that. Now, keep this in mind as a pastor. I was a hellion, I was a Satanist. I've got friends from every walk of life. Every single walk of life out there, I got friends. My qualification to be my friend is you love me, I love you. Cool, we're done. Doesn't mean my friends are part of my church, part of my board, part of my belief system, part of my company. No, they're just my friends. I can have a friend in any walk of life. Doesn't mean I do business with them. It's like I love my family, but they ain't working for me. I would not cross the line to bring them into my church or to my business because my business is a Christian-based company. And then my church, of course, is. So where did they go wrong? Well, I looked on their church website. Okay, where do they go to church? Right? People do that with me. Okay, if somebody comes to my church, people look at the website. Who is this guy? It seems like what they've done within the show matches, I've read it on one of the pages from their pastor or from their church, matches the church belief statement. Okay. All right. So what they're doing seems to be consistent with what they've always believed from observables. Not, I don't know them again. I haven't talked to them. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're doing. So on my observables, I go to the website that seems to match. Chip apparently got in a tiff with somebody on X, and what Chip said on the message seemed to match what the church website said. Okay. Now I have to ask a question. Are people disappointed because they didn't match Christ expectations? Or are they disappointed because they didn't match their public perception expectations? Would I do it? No, not in a million years. Would not do that. And I've got friends that are gay. My mentor was gay. What do we talk about? Sports, cars, life, love each other. I witness everybody that I can. Of course, I want them to be Christians. Can't make anybody do anything. Would it be involved in my business? Of course not. That's a whole different side of this. So if I really look at this, did they do anything that exposed them changing their values, or are they just consistent with what they've always thought or believed, and now people are just starting to see it? Because we tend to see people's behaviors through the prism of what we want them to be, or how we want them to be, or what we want them to be, and we start to manage our feelings, our expectations around those real or unreal expectations of what we place on somebody. It's like when we talk about dating, right? Somebody goes, well, you're going to have to take her off the pedestal that you put her on or you put him on. True. If you put someone on a pedestal, sometimes you have to knock them off. But is it their fault or your fault? It's a good question. Because did they just not meet your expectations that were unreal or unfounded because you didn't really know them? It's hard to have an expectation of someone if I don't personally know them. I can only go on what I see or what I read, not from the media, but from the person themselves. So what do we got here? Well, we've got some business owners that have built a career, apparently, on Christian values. Now, boy, could we get into a discussion right now on what Christian values are. The Bible's clear on how it feels about same-sex marriage. Very clear. Very clear. Not allowed. I always tell people, men and women procreate. Everybody outside of marriage of man and woman is recreation. So it's procreation, recreation. God's not big on the recreation. He is on the procreation. Man and woman, it's the structure of the family. Got to have mom, got to have dad, got to have the completeness of the family structure. So what's going to happen with them? I don't have any idea. They made a business decision that it looks like it's going to cost them a lot of money. We'll see how they feel. Again, did it violate their expectations or their values of what they want their lives to be? I don't know. We tend not to do that, but whatever everybody else's perception is gets violated. It's no different than an athlete, a pastor, somebody you knew down the street, somebody's mom and dad. We find things out that didn't match our fantasy and or our expectation of who they were, even though our expectations were not founded on reality. People assume a lot with me. Well, you're nothing like I thought you'd be. Hopefully, normally it's a good thing, but yeah, because you don't know me. It's like Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper always said, the girls aren't interested in me, they're interested in Alice Cooper. Same thing here. There's a TV persona, and then there's a real persona. It's kind of like wrestling. You're a baby face, you're a heel. That's not your real name. That's all scripted, except for the action. And then you have to go back to real life. Same thing here. They're on TV. People perceive them to be something. And when that perception's not matched by our feelings or expectations, we get really upset. Now, from the external, just being a Christian, there's a reason to be upset. I don't watch their programs. I don't buy their products. I'm not their target market. I'm not going to cost them any money because I never spent any money. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself a question. Did they violate your perception of them? Now, I'm not talking about the Christianity. That's wrong. That's wrong. There's no way they should have done that. However, did it violate their value system of what they perceived their relationship would be? That's the key. Now, I don't spend money with them. I would never spend money with them, and I won't watch their show. In the marketplace, the great thing is you got 2 feet and you can walk away and go spend your money with somebody else. Do they really care what the external feels? Don't know. You'd have to ask them personally. I don't like to make real sweeping assessments if I don't know somebody and I have not physically sat down and spoken with them. So I don't know where they are on the matter. But if you look up their church website, it's kind of consistent with what Chip put on X. So you have to make a decision. You're going to keep watching them, not watching them, still a fan, not a fan. I think they're pretty clear on which direction they're going with their company. So now it's your turn. You get to choose. You're either in or out. I've always been out, but I did want to handle this because people ask me, golly, when did it start? 2 weeks ago? I've been getting bombarded with this question for 2 weeks. So I wanted to go ahead and handle it. All right. So if you have any questions for me about this, don't email me about this. I mean, I think I was pretty clear about this. But you can always go to my website, scotferrell.com, SCOTFERRELL.com. Take care.